There it is. I was waiting for the little red button to tell me that I was actually live, and it is on. And it's also Friday. It's Friday evening, which means we're going to get into a lot of fun stuff. And I am highly excited about tonight's conversation. But of course, before I do all of that, I got to play some intro music. So let me do that first. 𝐁𝐮𝐢𝐥𝐝𝐢𝐧𝐠 𝐂𝐨𝐦𝐬. Welcome. I'm your host of Small Biz Bites. Woo, doggy. It's been a week, people. It has been a week, but I am feeling really good about how the week is going to end. So that is what's awesome. Before I get into all the things, we are streaming live to Facebook and LinkedIn and YouTube. And if you happen to be on YouTube, you know we would love it if you guys would like, share, and subscribe because, you know, those things, they kind of matter. Okay, they matter. Okay, so just go ahead, like, share, and subscribe. Do that. Before I get into some fun stuff this evening, let's shout out our community because, of course, my mother is here. Good evening, Mother. Great to have you here. We have the headshot strategist, Peggy MacArthur, is in the building. Good evening, ma'am. Tanya Fisher is here. Hello. Friday is a busy day for us, people. It's a busy day. And I've got something really special this evening. Let me tell you about one of the trends that people have talked about and that I have believed in for a while. And so I don't know why it's a trend. It should just be this way. But creating genuine, authentic relationships, humans actually connecting with other humans, it's the thing, people. It's not a trend. It's the thing, and everybody can do it. And it just so happens that the gentleman joining me this evening, we connected. Where was it? Like, was it an audio event? Is that where it was, Lee? Was it an audio event?
Audio event, Go Brunch, somewhere.
Yeah, either Go Brunch or an audio event. I can't remember now. All I know is I was like, hey, since we're connected, we should have like a real conversation. Because just connecting with people to collect numbers, I don't know about that. But when you sit down and chat with people, you're like, okay, I see what you're doing. So before we get into having fun with Lee, whoa, everybody say, hey, shout out to Cass Lou. Good evening. Ron Foster, my work husband, who was having a conniption this morning during the earthquake because we were on the phone. Shout out to you, sir. Also, Spencer Brad's in the building and my accountability partner, Gary Jackson Jr. is here. People, we're about to play what we like to call 3 truths and 1 lie. So, Lee, I need you to share with us 3 truths and 1 lie. And we are going to figure out which one is the lie. We're going to figure it out.
Okay.
Now, I'll give you some time, like unless you already have things figured out.
I think I'm ready to roll.
You're ready? Okay, well, go ahead. Throw them at me. I'm going to write them down so I don't forget. What you got?
All right. At one point in my life, I was a chef.
You were a chef? Okay.
Yes. At one point in my life, I was a photographer.
A photographer. All right.
And one point in my life, I was built skyscrapers.
You built skyscrapers?
And I moved to South Carolina with nothing more than a rocking chair and the clothes that we had in our possession.
Okay,
when we moved to South Carolina in 2006.
That one sounds so specific. I don't know if I want to pick that one. All right, let me see here. So you were either a chef at one point, a photographer, you built skyscrapers, or you moved to South Carolina with just your current possessions.
Yeah.
One of those is a lie. And I should say that last one was in 2006. So you actually had a date. So now I'm thinking maybe that was true. I don't know. So, I mean, okay.
Just throwing you off.
So before I guess, what does the crowd believe? What do you believe is the lie from Lee? Was he ever a chef? Was he ever a photographer? Was he ever, did he ever build skyscrapers? That sounds so far-fetched, but sometimes the far-fetched is like the real stuff. Or did he move to South Carolina with his only possessions in 2006? What are we getting here? Okay, well, Peggy says that you were never a photographer. Okay, well, okay, so that's one. Somebody says something. I don't know. The built skyscraper seems so obscure. It just seems so out there. I'm like, really? Because I don't know. You look like somebody who can cook. I don't know that there's a look for that, but you look like you may have some skills. And a photographer. All right. We're not allowed to ask extra questions, but are you an introvert by chance?
I wouldn't say so, no.
Okay, then maybe it could be the photographer, Peggy. He might be on to something. Tanya said this is a hard one. Well, I need you guys to give us an answer. We can't be here all night. Now I only got an hour. Now Peggy has put her answer in that she's thinking that he's never been a photographer. Okay, I'm gonna go with Peggy says, yeah, he looks like he can cook. That's what I'm saying, right? Like you look like you could be a chef, or that you have at some point. I'm gonna go with the chef. I believe, although you look like you can cook, I'm thinking you probably have zero skills. This is like everybody says like you can cook. All right, so were you ever a chef?
I was.
God,
I was an Italian chef. I love to cook. I started actually baking when I was 10 years old.
You started baking at 10 years old?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, that's one of my fill my cup things. You know, if I'm stressed, my wife knows if I'm stressed out, I'm gonna cook. I'll cook something. We actually have a little barbecue business on the side, EBREI Barbecue. Yeah, I love to cook, and my youngest son is taken right after me. He can cook a brisket better than I can.
Oh, now are you okay? Now this is a little sidebar right here. Okay, so when you do your briskets, are we doing it like over the pit, low and slow? Are we doing some of this new age thing?
No, low and slow. Low and slow, and wrap it in butcher paper.
I should have followed my gut. Something said stay with the chef, and I was like, no, because maybe. All right, so clearly that's not it. Were you ever a photographer?
I was.
Oh, okay, Peggy, you were wrong. So he was a photographer. All right, so you're in the room with a lot of photographers. Do tell.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I actually did my certification via online. I mean, back just before online. New York Institute of Photography is how I got my certification. But I really lost the touch, or lost the feel for photography when the digital age came in. So I was old school back with, medium format, 35 millimeter. And when the digital started to come, that's kind of when I broke away.
Oh no. Okay, well, here's what's interesting, because there are people who did say that photography was dead. Now that digital's on the scene, there's no love for it. We know that film is back again. And that, there's room for both. There is room for both of those things. Now, do you do like your own family portraits?
No, I don't. My wife gets on me. She's like, "You're the photographer. You should be taking pictures of our kids and all this stuff." And it's like, when I lost it, I kind of put it away, and I moved on to doing things that really make me happy, and photography just does not fit that bill anymore.
Just breaks my heart. Okay, now Tanya says, I'm on the photographer bandwagon. Please build skyscrapers so I can hear that story. Clearly, everybody is thinking. So even Kat says, maybe I should have stuck with skyscraper. Okay, so did you build skyscrapers?
I've built a lot of things, but not skyscrapers. I've built $1 million houses. I've built a lot of things, but not skyscrapers. You told me to throw a lie in there, and it's like I had to work on that one, because I've done a lot of different things in my lifetime. Just because my background, building, growing up on a farm, doing all the things that I've done, it's like I tried to weld as a kid. I tried to weld, and that's one of the things I just can't do. It's like I just don't. I don't try it anymore. It's like my son's taking up welding, and he's learning actually to get pretty good at it. So one of those things I've just accepted that it's not my skill.
See, I don't know why I thought that, we have heard some stories. So I just knew that, that's a possibility, because people have lived some amazing lives. So that's why I was like, no, I can see him probably doing the most obscure thing is the one thing that he would probably have done. As Gary says here, it says, gee, when in doubt, follow Gary. Thanks. Appreciate it. Okay, so that goes right into our story here, because you moved to South Carolina with only your possessions in 2006. Please do tell.
Yeah, well, I had lived in South Carolina in 90. I moved when I was single in 96, and I lived here for 4 or 5 years, whatever it was, till 2003, and then I moved 2003, 2004. I lose track of time. My parents lived in Minnesota, so I went back and lived with them for a couple years and got married. And when my youngest was literally 3 weeks old, we decided it's time to come back south and come back to largely church family. I like the church here, and it's like, this is where we're going to raise our kids. And so here we are 16 years later. Built a lot of memories, and my wife is from Belize, and so she still says she likes the cold better than the hot, but
really,
she doesn't go outside much in Minnesota winters, so I think she's telling herself a story.
Yeah, because Minnesota, they have some special winter. They can go ahead and call that what it is. That is not
beyond special.
Yeah, like that's a serious something there. My cousins are from Minnesota, and when they moved to Georgia, Atlanta specifically, a few years back, and there was this threat of a little bit of an ice storm, and they shut down the schools, and they were like, "What's happening here? I don't understand. Like, this is nothing. This is absolutely nothing." But hey, different places have different things. So let us get into, who are you? So we know your name is Lee, because clearly I'm that, but who is Lee, and what is your superpower?
Well, if you look on LinkedIn, I call myself now the blue collar philosopher, because my background is blue collar. I was born and raised blue collar, but my superpower is a visionary and eternal optimist. It's just I focus on what can be, and when you do the kind of work that I've done in the past as far as remodeling, and I take ugly houses and turn them into palaces, as I like to say, people look at what I do, and they'll come out and say, "Man, this is going to take you forever." And I'm like, "No, it's not going to take that long." It's like I go in and it comes to me. It's like, And so the visionary thing is really, yeah, it's a superpower. Not everybody has it.
Mm. Now, were you always a dreamer as a kid?
I was. I was a dreamer from as long as I can remember. I used to have imaginary friends.
Okay. Didn't we all? I mean, I don't know if kids still have imaginary friends.
I would take them around with me, and we would dream. And I vividly remember what when I was probably about 10. Mm-hmm. I told myself, I'm going to be somebody. I don't know how, I don't know where it's going to take me, but I'm going to be somebody. I'm going to have an impact. And I've never forgot. I know exactly the spot I was when I had that vision or that moment. And yeah, it's been a crazy ride. Learned a lot of skills over that time frame, because I was literally 9 or 10 years old at that time. And yeah, it's been as an 8th grade dropout, I've learned to how to move forward just by taking the bull by the horns and getting it done. When obstacles arise, you learn to push through it, rise above it. And that's my mantra.
Let me go back there. So 2 things you said struck me. One is that you were 9 or 10 years old saying that I'm going to be somebody. My curious nature says that comes from somewhere, but you also said the exact same breath. You were an 8th grade dropout.
Yeah.
Which one do you want to start with first, sir? Because I got to dig in.
Yeah. Well, I was told as a kid that I was never going to amount to anything. I had a brother-in-law that was not on the good side of the law and ended up in jail, and I was told, well, you're going to end up like him, and I'm like, no, not going to happen. And so that was kind of where that came from, and it takes a lot to overcome that challenge. And it's been a constant struggle, because there's times you buy into that. Well, maybe I ain't going to be anything. Yeah. That self-doubt, you're fighting it. And that's why the whole philosopher thing comes into play. I've worked on my mindset and really getting into that whole thing of understanding what you think about, you bring about. You are who you attract. And when you start understanding all that, and then you start to watch manifestation and things, start to happen because of intentions and goals and all that stuff, it all comes into play. And so, yeah, it's been really a rough ride at times, but it wouldn't be life if you didn't have some challenges.
Oh, I completely agree. Like I don't believe anyone, and I say this truly because I know we can see someone's life and it can appear that everything is great. Everything's working for them, but we don't know what's really happening when they're at home or wherever they are. Like people don't always share those things. So it makes sense to me, like when you say that, hey, there's been some bumps in the road. It's been, say, dark and stormy at sometimes. Oh, yeah. So here's what I want to just venture down on, because I was in another space yesterday and a lady mentioned that her husband had told her that she couldn't do certain things. And she was at this place where she was available to use her gift, but in the back of her head, those words kept ringing in her ears. When did you say, I'm going to let these words, I'm not going to be anybody? Like, when did you let those words like just die? Burn them. I'm always so violent. God bless me. When did you let that go? When did you let that lie go?
Probably in all reality, it's within the last couple of years that I really let it go. because I mean it was a constant struggle, and I kept wondering what's holding me back. There's and it comes back to your core beliefs. And so at some point you realize that is a crock of junk. There's no truth to that. I have skills. I am somebody, and more importantly, my relationship with Jesus is cancels all that trash. He created me to be somebody to have an impact, to make the world a better place, or leave it in a better place. The world's going to wax worse and worse. I can't control that part, but I can control the choices I make, and I can help people make better choices if they're informed on the choices that they can make. But people don't know what they don't know. And so along the way, that's where I come into play. It's like I tell people, it's taken me 20 years to get to where I'm at. It doesn't have to take you that long. I can shorten that learning curve because of my experience from going, back to the 8th grade dropout. If anybody can become an entrepreneur, I did it. Anybody can do it.
Well, I was sitting here thinking about, I was like, well, if Lee's gonna start sitting here testifying and everything, I should get the collection plate out and take up an offering. We should go ahead and pass around the plate, and the church will say amen. That's what I'm talking about. But you know what? Okay, so let me because everybody does have a story. And I have found that depending on the person, their faith does carry them through some of those dark and stormy moments. Was there ever a time where your faith was just a little off center, or you have always been, this is it, the good Lord got me, I'm going to go forward?
There's always that moment when you question what is really going on here. Because when you're growing that resilience muscle, which is a muscle that you have to grow, the muddy middle is dark. And and I didn't have coaches around me at that time. Actually I just hired some coaches, and so they were like, just be patient, be grateful for where you are. And I'm telling you, I was trying to put real estate deals together for literally 3-4 months. I couldn't put a deal together to save my life, and I'm sitting here asking God, what in the world is going on? Because I'm doing everything I can possibly do. I need a little help from the outside here. And so I literally, as soon as I switched to being grateful for the challenges, being grateful and having gratitude for the lessons I've learned, it was in a matter of probably 2 weeks. I had 2 deals show up. And I'm like, you talk about manifestation. I was like, unbelievable. It was like, it gives me chills to talk about it, because it was literally, has it been challenges since? Absolutely. Life is not life without challenges. So forget about that whole thing of everything being a bed of roses. Does life get easier? Yes, it does. But always be looking up, even through the challenges, be looking up, because there's opportunity in the challenge.
Man, that should be on a t-shirt. There is opportunity in the challenge. That's what I'm talking about. Oh my, and yes, Cass says gratitude. Yes.
Absolutely.
I don't believe
that's part of my routine. In the morning, gratitude. That's just, it's become as I say, the very fabric of who I am. I always tell the story of, the average American male. I don't know why the story uses male, but I'm just relating the story. The average American male has memorized the lyrics to over 4,000 songs without ever studying the music once. And it's spaced repetition. You put it in, you put it in, you put it in. And when your favorite song comes on the radio, it's there.
It is.
And it's the same way for success, but people don't put in the right music. They don't study the right things to make it available and become the very fabric of who they are. Oh,
goodness. Okay, so I have a lot to unpack here, Lee, because you're throwing a lot of stuff out here, and we're getting all the things. We're getting all the things put in, as Cass says, the saying, the silver lining in the clouds.
Absolutely.
There is something there. There is. So since you mentioned entrepreneurship, I want to roll this into your conversation of success and manifestation, and also surrounding yourself, I'm going to say, with good people.
Yeah, absolutely.
Tell us about your business. It says EBREI, and I'll let you explain what that acronym is. And again, did you always have those dreams? Like, you knew you were, like, we know that you're a dreamer, but did you always dream of having your own business?
I've been an entrepreneur from the time I was 13. I literally went out to the golf course and picked up golf balls and sold golf balls. One, my dad's boss would give me $1 for every pinnacle goldie I found, And so that was my first business venture. When I was 13, I would ride bike 5 miles to town to pick up golf balls. And so I always knew I would own my own business at some point. And I grew up doing construction and remodeling, and I never really wanted to have that business because I knew the headache, I knew the stress, I watched my uncle from the time I was 18 to, and I was like, I've learned the skill, I know how to do it, but I just didn't think but in 2012, 2013, the recession hit, and I literally started my construction remodeling business. Flying by the seat of my pants is like I tell people, that's kind of the way I just roll. Unfortunately, I don't put out a big business plan and put everything in place. It's like, this is what I'm going to do, and I do it. And I don't necessarily advise that.
Yeah.
Looking back, because it's not necessarily the best way to go about it. It's worked for me, but I wouldn't advise it. But anyhow, so yeah, in 2013, started remodeling, and just really couldn't get away from it. I walked away from it for a year and went into shipping and receiving for a fertilizer company, which my wife was a manager for. And I said, nah, I just can't. I can't be locked down in a plant somewhere. And so I went back to construction remodeling. Actually was working for another contractor, and it was at the end of 2019. I was like, you know what? I'm going to venture down this trail of real estate. I realized there's no retirement for people in the construction field. They pretty much, if that's what you do and that's, you work it till you can't work anymore, and then you hope that somewhere along the line you're able to do something right to be able to retire. And so it's just, I knew that was a tough road. And so EBREI came along, and that stands for EB Boys Real Estate Investors.
Okay.
And that's in 2020 is when I started that. And my goal in 2020, and I wrote this down, I was actually going through my journal, and I said I want to flip 4 houses a year and start wholesaling so many houses. And the first 3 years that I flip 4 houses? No, but 2024, I'm on track to flip 4 houses. We actually just put the 3rd house under contract for the year. We're not even at the halfway point, so I feel fairly confident we'll be able to get the 4th one and get 4 flipped this year. So I'm really, really excited about that. But I'm actually more excited about the whole thing and the whole process of pivoting to the coaching and training and the blue collar philosophy.
Okay.
That is really a big piece of being able to build that community that I'm working on, build a community to help people get from where they are to where they want to be. With my experience, I know I have the tools, I know I have what it takes to understand not only their pain, but to be able to help people get through that muddy middle. And, I understand too, it's and it's happened to me, and I've spent a fair amount of money on coaches over the year in training. And it's like, does it really have to cost that much? I mean, I realize you need to put bread on the table. You need to get paid. But does it really need? So I'm working on more of a cost-effective, community-based approach for people to get in, to get the fundamentals figured out, and then they can kind of build the program from there. So I'm just really excited to be able to have an impact. That's really what it comes down to.
So tell me more, because you said you're about the blue collar philosophy. Would you give us more details about that?
What in specific are you looking for?
Well, now, I mean, when people think blue collar, they typically believe that it is something that is trade related. So working with your hands. So are we taking that sort of homegrown, I built it with my hands mentality and putting that into coaching?
Yes. It's taking the people, and a lot of times you have blue collar people, they have the skills, they have the ideas, and they start a business, but 80% of businesses fail.
Yes.
In the first year. And I know that number cannot be changed, but you can help the ones that do make it thrive. And when you understand the coaching side and are able to help people understand, don't quit. Just don't quit. If you can learn to be resilient, understand the obstacles, and move through it, rise above the challenge, you have the ability. The sky's the limit. I'm not even, and somebody said the other day, the sky's not even the limit. I mean,
there's more beyond that.
Way beyond that. And so, and I believe that, we are our own worst enemy when it comes to success. We limit ourselves. So that's where, working with people to understand, is it just limited to blue collar people? No, anybody that resonates with my message, anybody that resonates, I can work with. I kind of pigeonhole myself a little bit with the blue collar, that it's a unique, the philosopher kind of throws a new spin on it.
I wouldn't say that you're a pigeonhole. I wouldn't say that. I was thinking the other day, I was at another LinkedIn event, and there was a gentleman speaking about messaging, and he was just saying that, personality has an impact on the message. I am fully aware that Gwendolyn is not for everybody. Yeah. I am a jagged little pill. So even like you and I keep saying that share the exact same message. If the personality and the energy is not connecting, people will not relate and it will not resonate.
Absolutely.
So I don't believe you pigeonholed yourself at all. Not at all. Nope. When you know who your audience is and you're talking to your community, your tribe, they're going to find you and they will show up. And I want to dig more into community as a matter of fact, because you've mentioned it a couple of times, and I don't want to get on the coaching bandwagon because some of that I haven't spent that much money. I have spent some, and we have seen the ugly side of coaching, so we'll leave that right over there.
Yeah.
But I do want to talk about community, and Cass agrees with you that yes, it is beyond. The sky is not the limit, and we do get in our heads. And I know for myself, I have this sometimes. I guess I get. Well, I shouldn't say guess. It's all self-sabotaging. That perhaps I should be promoting something. I'm kind of like, no, I'm not going to share it there because no one's going to really care. And we do it to ourselves, and it's just even you can be an extremely competent person. You can believe in what you're doing and feel so great, but we're human, and when you're sharing a little bit of yourself, that little bit of exposure, a little bit of vulnerability, you're still like, oh my God, please just don't. I feel like Sally feels you like me, you really, really like me. But let's talk about community, please. Because you mentioned that you are creating a community. Now you're active on LinkedIn. Is that one place where people can come together with you, or do you have other places that people congregate?
Right now, it's largely LinkedIn. Also, Go Brunch. Go Brunch is I've created a blue collar lounge.
Okay. I didn't know that.
It just kind of happened. Last week was in the room with Keith Keller, and he was like, let's make him let's make him a lounge. And so AI is crazy, and literally in 10 minutes we had a lounge created. And so it's really, really cool. I'm really happy with it. And we held the master class there last night, and had connected with some great people that I hadn't connected with before. So it was. But the other part of the community is it's in the building stages. So it's going to probably happen on school or somewhere where people can come in, and at some point it'll be kind of a membership based, but I want to keep it as cost effective as possible. Because there I want to plug in training, mindset work, stuff that people can do that can help them become better. It's all about becoming better.
I completely agree. And there is something about community, and I will go ahead and shout out Peggy, because we were, we have a variety of circles. I'm sure a lot of you out there have a variety of circles that you work with in terms of coworkers or accountabilities or what have you. And I do know a fellow photographer needed some assistance. And I was like, you know what? This sounds like a Peggy MacArthur situation. And I said, hey, Peggy, what would you do? And I said, hey, person, you should talk to Peggy. And surely enough, because of community, she was able to help her find a pretty good solution. And I really do believe that in my head, I feel people are done with the gatekeeping. Like, I don't mind paying someone for their experience, their knowledge. I do believe in getting paid for your skills. However, me asking you a very simple question or just getting acclimated, or just want to figure something out about you shouldn't cost me an arm and a leg.
Absolutely.
Right? Like, I don't. 100%. It just, and I believe it got really out of pocket where people had a deal that if you wanted to even ask a question,
Yeah.
For 15 minutes, you can pay me $50. It's like, but how do I know that your answer is even worth the $50? Like, we haven't even, like, everything doesn't have to be so transactional. I just want to ask you a question, like, how hard can it be? So I do believe people are seeking community, and they are seeking spaces that are open to growing together. Again, there's going to be a place where you got to pay somebody for that one-on-one, but until then,
yeah,
you know,
I'm with you. And that's, building those relationships on LinkedIn. I also do some WhatsApp groups. And that's something I just really started plugging in with here within the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, I've heard about the WhatsApp groups. I have not dived into them. I hear they're a thing. I'm kind of like, look, I can only be so social. So we may not.
That's kind of where I'm at. My WhatsApp is blowing up by what's going on in the groups. And I'm like, I'm working, 8 hours here. I don't really have time to be.
I know, to do all this other stuff. It's like, but for those of us in the crowd, and there are a number, I just want to know, for those of us in the crowd who understand the beauty of a Go Brunch community, give me like 100, give me a heart, give me 3 snaps. But if you understand the beauty of Go Brunch, let us know in the comments, because I know I hang out in a couple of Go Brunch spaces all day, just because that's where the community is coming in, and that's where we're showing up. So let me get this. What advice do you have for people? Because you mentioned mindset, right? And helping people sidestep all of those pitfalls. What advice do you have for anyone who is considering going down this entrepreneurial path?
One is probably the biggest thing is having a clear plan. Understanding kind of where you want to go. I believe it should align with your purpose and passion. And so some of that stuff there's a little groundwork that needs to happen. And that would be my recommendation, because that wasn't always the recipe that I used. Like when I started construction, that's what I knew, and so I knew I had a fairly high chance of success because it's what I knew. And I was fairly certain that being a math whiz, that I could probably figure out the business side as I went. Mm-hmm. And so that was played into my favor. But still, I mean, if I had to do it over again, I would back up and punt and say, this is, I'm going to evaluate what aligns with who I am and where I want to end up. And when you're able to do that, the work that you're doing it's in harmony with who you are. You're not forcing yourself to do stuff that's not you. And that's really where even like the real estate stuff, that stuff I love to negotiate. I love to get, put the deals together. And I'm, getting to the point where I'm not that old, but I'm getting to the point where I don't need to be doing the grunt work because of my experience. So
I don't think you're that old, Lee. And even, let's just be honest, a little bit of physical labor keeps you nice and like mentally fit. So that's not, that's a plus. Telegram gets busy too. And we've got our hearts and hundreds coming in here because a lot of us do enjoy being in Go Brunch and working with people in this community. And it's an awesome thing. So I can't, I discovered it last year thanks to Peggy, just by chance.
Oh, wow.
And now I can't get out of it. Like we're always there hanging out and doing some stuff, always doing some stuff. So I do know. Okay, so I want to go back to this, just so we can make sure that we share your blue collar. Now, what's the name of your coaching business or class?
My coaching class is actually called Blueprint to Your Success.
Blueprint to Your Success. Right. All right. Now, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Well, I was just saying that you just started it, yes?
Yes. Just started. I had my first master class yesterday.
Okay. All right. First master class was yesterday. Do we have a schedule?
And I'm planning to do a second master class. Let's see, I wrote down April 17th.
All right, April 17th. Let me see if I can.
I'm gonna start building for that today.
He's like, I need to get that going. I think it's, but here's the deal. I'm going to say this because there's a spot for, Gwendolyn, be gracious, be gracious. There is a spot for coaches, mentors who genuinely want to help people. And I don't know how else to say it. Not take advantage of people. There you go. I said it. You know how you're trying to be gracious. You're like, I just want to find it. It's like, man, say it, because there is someone for everyone. I am not knocking those who charge whatever they charge, and I ain't knocking those who charge whatever they charge. However, I'm on the same wave of views. Like, it doesn't have to be $1 kajillion. Like, I don't understand, especially when you have people who are just getting started and you want to see them succeed. So, like, if you're coming from that place of, I was also an entrepreneur, then you're thinking, hey, I know exactly where they are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you don't want to knock the wheels off the bus before they get started.
Knock the wheels off. I think they've taken the wheels, a couple of windshield wipers, maybe the back seats. So, you know what I mean? Like, they have done that. It says you have done the groundwork to lay the foundation. And Cass also says, congratulations to you.
Thank you.
Starting that as well. That is pretty awesome. I mean, we need more people who want to, again, genuinely help people and see them thrive and be successful. It is necessary.
Yeah, that's my thing. It's even on, in audio rooms, on LinkedIn, I tell people, reach out. I'm not going to charge you to be a friend. I'm not gonna, if you need something, let me know. As long as you're not, asking me for money, that's, I'm good. I'll do what I can to help you. I'll support you. I will, give you any advice that I can give you. I'll refer people to you. Whatever I can do to help you. I'm that guy. I'm the biggest cheerleader. So
on LinkedIn, what is your LinkedIn? I should probably put this in the chat here.
It's I believe it's Lee-EB.
Lee-EB.
On LinkedIn.
I'm going to put here, let's see, connect with Lee on LinkedIn. Sometimes you have to sing it out so you make sure you don't miss any of the letters. Yeah. And let me go here. EBY. There we go. EBY, correct?
Yes.
There we go. Sweet. And we can find your Go Brunch link there as well. For your blue collar lounge, or are we jumping the gun and getting people into your lounge? Because we'll come and hang out.
I have to put that on my LinkedIn page. I didn't even think about that. You give me a new idea. But I will get that. on my LinkedIn.
Yeah.
People can come to the Blue Collar Lounge.
We would love to come over and hang out at the Blue Collar Lounge and see what's going on, and come in and just enjoy and soak in some of your knowledge and what have you. That'd be an awesome thing. Because again, people who have not heard about Go Brunch, you should check them out.
Yes.
It's a great way to create community, and it is virtual, so you don't have to be in the same city. I will say it's best experienced on a laptop or a desktop or a tablet. You can use your phone, but Go Brunch is an awesome place to meet some great people and come together. I mean, we've done all the things.
Yeah, no, it's awesome because actually after the masterclass ended at like 7:00, we ended up hanging out, and somebody else popped into the room at the end. She missed the presentation, and I connected. You know, she's from South Florida, originally from Jamaica, and yeah, we ended up having a really cool conversation with the four of us that just hung out after the class. So it was pretty cool.
Yes, pretty. I'm excited to check out what you have going on as well. Just to again support another person's building community and also supporting entrepreneurs. So that is always a cool thing. Again, audience, you do want to connect with Lee under Lee EBREI. That's your name, right? EBREI?
Yes.
EBREI on LinkedIn. Do connect with them. And I do know that you also host, before I forget, audio events on LinkedIn.
Monday evenings at 8:00.
There we go. Monday evenings at 8:00 Eastern.
The edge of success. That's the topic.
Yes. Say that one more time.
The edge of success.
The edge of success. Oh, okay. I know the last time you had one, I was in another meeting. I'm going to have to get my schedule figured out so that I can come and get into one of your audio events and sit in the crowd and do all the things. All the things in there. Before, believe it or not, we only have like a few more minutes. Before I let everybody go, I do want to share a couple of things because we love bringing great people here, and we have some more great entrepreneurs and creatives coming to the Small Biz Bites stage. We have Serena Wills coming very soon. She's going to talk about writing and wellness. I'm excited about that. Completely excited about it. And if you haven't already, I do want to invite you all to sign up for the 𝐁𝐮𝐢𝐧𝐝 email, because we do all the podcast stuff and then all the other things. I mean, it feels like 5,000 things. Feels like 5,000. I want to say it's close to 5,000. I'm out here trying to take over the world.
Yeah.
That's my, I don't know where that goal came from, but it feels pretty good right now, so I'm gonna keep riding with it. And let me just go ahead and shout out Danny, who is here this evening. Hello to you, ma'am. Hello. I will say this before I let everybody go, because being the person who wants to take over the world, I'm going to invite you all again to not only like, share, and subscribe to my channel, but also subscribe to Indie Soup Media TV. Funny enough, this one is going to have her second episode of Ladies Listen Up. It actually starts in 8 minutes.
Oh, wow.
So when I tell you we are running and gunning, Gwendolyn is running and gunning. That's what we're doing over here. Thank you so much. Hey, Lee, before we let you go, any parting words for our community? Anything you want to share? Words of advice, words you get out of the bed for, just anything that moves your heart?
Well, I want to thank you for this opportunity to be able to come and spend this hour. It's been awesome. And, as I think of the whole edge of success and building people's lives, I really focus on, the law of magnetism. Who you are is who you attract. And if you can focus on that, opportunities are endless. Doors will open. Keep looking up, because we'll rise above the challenge.
I love that. That's a good one. Thank you so much. I want to thank Lee for giving us this hour, almost an hour, and sharing with us his knowledge and his story. Thank you for sharing both of those this evening. And I want to thank all of you for tuning in and supporting this show as well. And of course, if you are a person who enjoys getting into some more stuff, because Gwendolyn has a lot to say, Lord bless all of me, you can hitch on over to Indie Soup Media on YouTube or Roku. and Facebook or Twitch and check out the next episode. Until then, be safe and have a great evening.
Thank you for watching another episode of Small Biz Bites with Gwendolyn R. Houston Jack, where we chat with other creatives and small business owners about their journey. And we also invite you to like, share, and subscribe to the GR Houston Jack YouTube channel, where you can get the latest and greatest.